Welcome to another episode of Be Kind Connects. I'm your host, Shabnam Islam. And on today's episode, we have the vegan media entrepreneur, Angela Yvonne. Now, Angela is the founder, host, and producer of Vegan Pop Eats, a vegan brand that aims to invite people into the plant-based sphere without all that confusion and anxiety. Consider Vegan Pop Eats like a new age concierge service, inviting you to learn about veganism, where to eat, what to drink, what to do, and definitely what's hot and poppin'. So, what a pleasure it is to have the Vegan Pop Eats Queen in the studio with us today. Angela, pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel so blessed that you even thought that I was worthy. I was super excited because I followed Be Kind and I like what you guys are doing. So when you said you wanted to talk to me, I was like, yes, I have arrived.
You have arrived. And you know what? The reason why I really think you arrived is because I had the pleasure of meeting you at the 2022 Vegan Women's Summit in LA, where you were actually leading a panel discussion on the climate generation, how Gen
Mhm.
Z will save the world. And that included people like Maggie Baird, Genesis Butler, and Lana Weingenat.
Yeah.
And these are big people in the sphere. So you being there lets us know you have arrived. But what really made you want to take part in that event?
Well, for the Vegan Women's Summit, it was important to me that I commune with people who are like minded and we are operating in the same space. But I met Jennifer because she was like one of my very first guests who actually thought, Vegan Pop Eats was worthy for a few minutes of her time because she's done so many big things in the space, and she was one of my first supporters. And so from then I was just like, because I'm a big person on, how I can be an asset. So when she said yes, and I didn't even when she said yes, nobody knew what Vegan Pop Eats was. It was just a it was just me. We are in COVID, and I'm well versed in pop culture. And when I crossed over, it was one of those things where I really wanted to merge all the things that I really truly enjoy and all the things that were in my lifestyle. And so I was just, I saw the girls were on IG Live. So I was like, I could be on the IG Live too. So I was just, sending out, and I didn't really have any a blueprint on what it was supposed to look like other than my physical show where I actually go out and showcase the hottest vegan spaces. But I didn't have a blueprint on how the series was going to come about. But sitting in the house, and I was able to get like a lot of influential people who were really like, oh, this is something new. Yeah, I'll come on and talk about my journey. And it just started to grow. And then I started, I guess I'm starting to create a buzz about what Vegan Pop Eats is. Um, and when the opportunities to find out that there are other like festivals and things of that nature, I love talking to people. I love showing people how dope it is over the Greenside. So I was just like, oh, if I could be an asset, I thought I was just going to be, a volunteer or something like that. And then she was just like, oh, I remember it. I remember it. I was in the gym. Because those who follow me know I'm, on the struggle with it. And I was on the Stairmaster. She was like, Angela, do you know? Do you know? Do you know? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I know who they are. She was like, okay, great. You're going to be moderating a panel. I was like, what? I almost fell off the Stairmaster because I knew how big this was going to be. I knew the type of people that I was going to meet. Like I met you and, just other people who are operating in this space. I cried for about 5 minutes because when you're creating a brand, you're looking, especially when I guess you would say that you're, well, I would say Vegan Pop Eats is somewhat like a pioneer, I guess, because there isn't any major commercialized or any kind of, I guess, platform that's focused on, showing you that, the diversity of being in this plant-based or veganism lifestyle, whatever you're calling yourself, because there's so many names. But to be recognized with someone who is really moving and shaking, I was so grateful and I was so honored, and it surpassed everything that I thought it would surpass, because when I saw it, I was just like, oh my God, this is really a major stage.
It was
And
huge.
I was so thankful and I'm so grateful. I'll ramble on if you let me. So,
Okay, so how about this? Why don't we lift up the curtain a little bit to tell us
mhm.
about Angela Yvonne before Pop Eats? Um,
Okay.
the successes that you had as a publicist in the pop culture sphere. Tell us about that.
hmm Well, it's a twofold, because what started me on my journey, I'll just say it that way. I've always been obsessed with pop culture. Always been like, I'm the person, like, if you want to know about something dealing with pop culture, that was my thing. And at first I was a publicist, and I worked with luxury lifestyle brands, but I've always loved being on the camera. My degree is in public relations and broadcasting. I double majored in that. And then, I've always, I think that I think I was just always talented in that aspect, as far as being
Mhm,
able to talk to
mhm,
people and just, have personality and things of that nature. So when my journey started as a vegetarian, when my mother got breast cancer, it was like, when I was taking care of her, it was like, when you're dealing with someone who is leaving,
mhm,
this space, you really think about, like, okay, so what do I really want to do with my life? Because
mhm,
I dabbled in hospitality. I never did anything the conventional way. And while I was taking care of her, I was just like, you know what, I've always wanted to be on TV. I didn't, I should have took the conventional route. I probably would have been an anchor somewhere. But when I found out how much they make coming out the gate, I was like, 18,000 just don't seem cute to
oh,
me.
hell
So
no.
I'm just going to be a publicist. I'm just going to be, in the PR space. So I ended up being the resource director for Habitat for Humanity straight out of college. And I was just sitting there, they're just like, it was, it was horrible. I learned a lot
Mhm,
because I love doing events, but that wasn't, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. And so I had, long story short, I had saw a personality on TV, on the gossip table. That's what it was called. It was on VH1. Delana Dixon was the person who gave me my first major celebrity interview, and I was doing it from my home before we were doing like Zooms and all this other stuff because of COVID. I was, on the phone transcribing interviews. She sent me on press tours and all this other stuff, and I was like, this is what I needed to do. And this was a way where I could keep the New York address on my resume, so when all was said and done, I could be gone. But my mom ended up passing, and after that, it was just like, okay, Angela, you know, you have to start over and you have to really go forth. So, anyone who knows about being on air, it's very competitive. If you don't know anybody, if you didn't do the right internships, these aren't jobs that you can't like open up the newspaper and they'll be like, oh, here's a opportunity at E News to be. They don't do that. It's more word of mouth. So I came here and I hit the ground running. I retook all of my hosting classes. I was just really grinding it out, and I got the opportunity to be a talk show host for the L Spot show here in Brooklyn, and it was dealing with pop culture. That was my thing, and I was trying to do that. But then when I crossed over to being vegan, I've been a vegan for 6 years. I was just like, huh, why don't I do a little segment to see if I could, make my producer like vegan mac and cheese? And
mhm.
it ended up being a thing. And I was like, huh. And I researched to see if there was any vegan lifestyle shows, and there wasn't any. So I was just like, okay, I can do this. So without a plan, I, got I won't say she was an intern, but she was not like a major camera person. She had a camera. We had a, a lavalier, and we hit the ground running
You were
the
shooting.
first yeah, just out there giggling and jiggling. I didn't have no I didn't have no kind of idea, but I knew what I wanted it to eventually look like. So then when I did a first season of that, and I had people come on, to introduce them to what how good vegan food could be. And then when COVID hit, Vegan Pop Eats IG live series just, started taking off. And now I have over, 100 interviews and counting with influential people. And I'm not even on a major platform yet. Well,
Yeah.
Vegan Pop Eats is major, but it's not, it's not where it's supposed to be. I'll say it that way, but I know where it's going to be.
That's amazing. And so it seemed like you wanted to really create a fulfilling career, right? And
Mhm.
you said that the creation of Vegan Poppies actually happened after the passing of your mom.
Yes.
Was she did she start to transition towards a vegan vegetarian lifestyle? Or was
No,
this
no, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was living in North Carolina and I didn't know anything about being a vegetarian. I didn't know anything about being a vegan. Um, but I knew that it had something to do with the food,
Mhm,
because
mhm,
when you are able to live in different places, different communities and different spaces eat certain ways. And while she was going through cancer, I was trying to figure out, is there a possible way that I could change, the trajectory of what was going to happen. So I started looking at it and I was just like, okay, because I used to eat burgers and fries and, pork and all of those different things, because, my culture is influenced, Southern, Caribbean, and all those different things. And I just knew it had to be the food. And so I just stopped and I was, trying, even though I was too late, I was trying to incorporate, the juicing aspect, because I had saw the documentary where what was it called? Sick and Nearly Dying, something like that.
mhm.
I know I missed one part, and how he was able to cure himself through, you know, plants being medicinal and things of that nature. And I was just trying anything that could possibly, help, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But I stayed on the trajectory of, well, it's not going to happen to me. So
Mhm.
I really, you know, really was starting to pay attention to the things that I was putting into my body. And then, I did Veganuary 1 year, 6 years ago. And after those 30 days, I was just like, I don't need this. I'm not about to do this. So now, I'm, I'm in it, and I would never go back. Never.
So I agree. I also did a 30-day, like I was dared to go vegan for 30 days and
Yeah.
it was just impossible to go back. But tell us a little bit about Vegan Pop Eats. It's a mission driven business and entity. And why is this so important to you, as particularly as a Black female entrepreneur growing up in the South? Like, why is this a drive for you?
It's a drive for me because when COVID hit, it was one of those things where it was just like nobody really knew what it was, because there was all kinds of theories where it was man-made, it was, a purge, it was just all these things going on. And for me, I know that health is our biggest currency, because
Mhm.
without it, you can't do there's nothing you can do if your health is not well. It's just, that's the one thing that for sure. If it's not together, it is the catalyst for all the other things that are going on with you. You can't think straight, you can't, function, you can't, things of that nature. And especially in our community, we have a lot of diabetes, we have a lot of, different types of sicknesses stemming from how we eat. And for me, I just wanted to take out the stigma of crossing over to the green side. Like I say, I always say it's dope over here, because your grandma's veganism, plant-based vegetarianism, it's all these different types of rules which make you feel like, you know if I eat cheese on a Monday, I have to give up my vegan card, or the vegan police will come through and be like, oh, you have on leather. And they don't say, well, it's okay to have leather if it's thrifted. They don't say that. They just say, "Oh, if you got on leather, you have to give up your card."
Mhm. Mhm.
And for me, it doesn't matter how you get over here. I just want you over here,
Right.
because
Right.
the way that we're going now, you can see it in our climate, you can see it in, like, just health and things of that nature. I just want people to find a space where, you know, it's comforting, and to see that we have a good time. Like, you can have luxury, you can go to hotels, you can eat well, you can look good, you can smell good without harming anyone.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the driving forces for it. And I just want someone to, be the blueprint that I didn't have, because anyone who meets me, if they say, oh, where should I go eat, I can rattle it off just like this. Or if they're wanting something, I can, if they're, oh, I can never be, it's not, I can't never, it's just not a priority for you. If you say it that
Absolutely.
way, then it sounds a little different, and then you have to question yourself, like, why isn't my well-being um a priority for myself? But I just want vegan peeps, vegan pop eats to be a space where, when people see my brand, they know that they could just come as they are. They can't come as they are, instead of feeling like they have to give up so much to experience a life of abundance.
Absolutely. And on Vegan Pop Eats, you interview a slew of influential plant-based people from the
Absolutely.
plant-based circuit. We have the Butter Queen, Miyoko Shinner. You have pop star
Hmm.
Maya, who's been my
Hmm.
favorite since I was a kid.
Absolutely.
And even the most recent one you did with Dr. Aris Latham, right?
Hmm.
That one to me was like, pff. I feel like as a vegan, listening to someone who's been vegan for like 4 decades, 5 decades of his
Yes.
life, it just puts me back in the ground as a seed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, can you share with us what were some key takeaways you had from that interview?
Well, with Dr. Aris Latham, he changed my mentality. Like, I still stutter over saying vegan,
Right.
because he gave me
Let's
the
talk about that.
facts. He gave me, and it was just a matter of fact. And it also made me think about how easy we are to just take things as face value versus doing the research, because
Hmm.
the top my brand is vegan pop eats, not vegetarian pop eats.
Hmm.
And with that particular interview, amongst I have some other ones that were really powerful as well. It just really put me in the mindset of being a little bit more focused, as far as what the message is, as far as what I'm wanting to show up and be for people. Because with him, he he just made the mission more clear, because he has completely devoted himself to, you know not giving into commercialism. He's not giving into just things that make things easier. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And so, with that particular interview, when he broke down what, you know it's we're not vegans, we're vegetarians, because we eat vegetables. Vegetarians don't eat eggs. They don't eat, different things, but we have allowed people to dictate, because it's easier for someone to digest vegan versus vegetarian.
Right.
And just the way that I, view my food now, after speaking with that, because now I'm steering closer to being raw, where majority of
Wow.
my food is raw to a certain degree. But I've done, 30 days or 25 days of raw living, and I love it.
Hmm.
I loved it. It made me feel more, it makes me feel like I have my life together.
Hmm. I
It
mean, the
makes me
energy
feel
from the
that.
nutrients, the fiber, like
Yes.
you just function. You don't need coffee. You need to eat
Mm-mm.
your food, and it's just so powerful. And but that takes it to another level, right? Like where people are like, "Oh
Mhm.
my god, how accessible, how easy. How am I going to do this?" So,
But it's
Vegan
just
Pop Eats
but
basically shows you all of these things.
Oh, absolutely, because the reason why one I just want to get over the misconception of veganism, vegetarian, plant-based, however you want to call yourselves. It is not that difficult. It is not that difficult, and it is not that expensive.
Hmm. Hmm.
Depending on what kind of lifestyle that as far as what you're trying to eat and things of that nature. Yes, it'll be expensive if you're buying all the faux meats. It
Mhm.
will, because those faux meats are, $8 to $11. Just egg in some spaces are $11 a
Wow.
container. You
Oh,
know what I'm saying?
wow.
Here in New York, yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, it's
Yes.
4.99 here at the pavilion, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
grateful for
It's
that.
11 yes, and $11.99 to be at our natural market. But um I really want people to get out of the thought process that living this lifestyle is expensive. I want them to get
Absolutely.
out of the thought process that it's hard to do. Nothing is hard to do if you really want to do it.
That's right. That's right.
That and because chickpeas, one can of chickpeas is 99 cents. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And a bag of chickpeas, which would yield more than that can, is probably like $2. Something
Mhm.
like that. But I just want people to start making their lifestyle more of a priority as far as health reasons, as far as the planet and things of that nature, because it was 40 something degrees yesterday here in New York.
Come to LA.
We were rocking like, it's
Winter
it's
garb.
yes. Yes. And I just for me, Vegan Pop Eats, I just really want people to just, open their minds as far as how this lifestyle is changing people's lives. They're getting second chances in, you know, their health. They're getting second chances with their family. They're getting second chances with, you know, the clarity in their minds, where they're not so prone to just follow, what society is saying that you should be. And
Right.
when I think about the conversation with Eris, it was just like, this is a man who is considered the father of the raw food movement. He's
Mhm.
history. And he has created a lifestyle. He looked like the Black Jesus.
He does look like the Black Jesus.
And I was just like, he's going on almost 80 years old.
Wow.
80 years old, and he is still driving,
Vibrant and
still
thriving.
well nourished and moisturized.
And that's what you want, and that's the thing, like, when you can take the dependency away from pharmaceuticals and other kind of external topical
Right.
adhesive treatments, you really get to the soul root of it, and that's what I love about vegan pop eats. You said the right thing. It's giving an opportunity for people to change their lives. So, how
Yes.
about we flip this? How has your life changed after creating vegan pop eats?
Well, for me, it has allowed me to really understand what my purpose is, because, it's allowing me to do all the things that I've always wanted to do. And that is the main thing that's always been important to me, is that I truly want to just make my ancestors proud. And I feel that by doing that, I and assisting people in having better lives is like my purpose. Because
Mhm.
anyone who knows me or gets to knows me, I'm always here for a way that you can level up. And I'm always here, and I'm always interested in something that's motivating to get you something better. And I feel that creating Vegan Pop Eats has allowed me to show up as my authentic self.
Mhm.
And that's the one thing that is super important to me, that I have been able to start creating a community that people allows me to show up as myself. And I don't have to put on, you know, a certain personality in order for people to hear me. I don't have to change what I look like, and for people to want to be attracted to the things that I'm saying. I can be colorful. I can be I can be, you know, full of personality, because I feel that in this space, people just want to have the right answer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there is no right answer, but people are more comforted in knowing that, oh, well, here's this woman just laughing, giggling, doing whatever she's talking about. And she can show me where I can eat good, or I can look good, or I can, do these different things. And I'm not harming the planet, and I'm not harming anyone else. Let me see what she's talking about. Let me see how she's talking about. And so, yeah, for Vegan Pop Eats, it's really, it's made me feel that I have arrived to where I've always wanted to be. And it's made me more fearless, because I've always been fearless. But it's just made me really, stand strong in my conviction of, I can do all these things. Like, I love pop culture. I can talk about that because there's people in the vegan or the non-animal space
Right.
that are in pop culture. There's entertainment. I can talk about, fashion, because I love fashion, and there's sustainability, there's thrifting, there's just so many avenues. And I really enjoy that I am somewhat of a pioneer in the, I guess, vegan space, because there's nothing like what I'm doing anywhere. And I'm glad and proud to be one of the first. I know I'm not the only one, but I can say that I'm one of the first, and that's just really a dope feeling.
And as a woman of color, female entrepreneur in this plant-based space, what do you think brought you the most success in business, other than being yourself, being authentic? What three key things do you think brought you the most success?
Um, my individuality, my tenaciousness, and wanting to give back. I think those are the three things that really is part of my success, because I'm successful because I started. I'm not successful because, I have awards, not yet anyway, and I don't have, and I'm not living in, West Palm somewhere, going to get matcha every day. But cuz, I'm weird. I think that's a that's a sign of success when I can just go get matcha every day in a little
Well,
two piece.
Miami might be calling you. May not be West Palm, but it may be Miami, baby.
But I'm successful because I started, and I'm successful because, you know, people are really gravitating towards it, because like I said, I didn't know what it was going to be. I had a thought, and it's growing. Different things are growing every day in my mind, as far as, because I want to be a full lifestyle brand. I don't want it to just be about me interviewing someone. I want products. I want partnerships and things of that nature. And so I just want, at the end of the day, for my ancestors to really be proud that I didn't squander the sacrifices that they made for me to be able to be here and to even talk to you.
I love that. And you talk about this being inviting. And uh, so let me ask you this: what are the most common conflicts or obstacles that you see within the Black community that deter them from going into a plant-based lifestyle? Because we know culture is all a big part of it. Like, I have my own thing with my Southeast Indian
Right,
family, right?
right.
But what do you see?
I think what prevents them is that, I don't know if you follow I'm Surviving Vegan, Orisha Oshun, but
Oh, I'm not.
she is an interview that I did, and she said something that was really, really like an aha moment. I think the reason why she said, not I think, she said that when you are telling someone to cross over, it feels like you're telling them to um not remember their past, not remembering their culture and things of that nature, because food is a language, and it's a language that's passed on through generations. So when you're telling them that, oh, you shouldn't be eating that curry goat anymore, or you shouldn't be eating those hamburgers anymore, they're not thinking of it like, oh, this is good for me. They're thinking about, well, my grandmother used to do it. She's here, she's been
Right.
here 80 years old, or she's 100 years old. But she was saying that, yeah, they were here, but were they healthy?
Hmm. Mhm.
and they're dying of natural causes and things of that nature. Diabetes is a natural cause, a heart attack is a natural cause. She said the only thing that's not a natural cause is cancer and suicide. And I think she
Mhm.
said one more thing. And I think with us is just that it's almost the fear of the unknown, because just like I don't know if you've been in New York, which you probably have, but New York, the staple here is a chopped cheese or the pizza slices, the dollar pizza slices. You can, if
Mhm.
you in certain neighborhoods, it's a pizza place like every block. And
Right.
imagine telling New Yorkers, oh, you can't eat pizza no more, or you can't have that chopped cheese at the bodega no more. They'd lose their minds.
Absolutely.
And then they're not it, and I think that for our culture, because we learned how to eat these certain things through colonizers, the people who came, like that wasn't our lifestyle. We weren't up there, and if we did eat meat, the kind of meat that we were eating are not the same meat that we have right now.
That's
And
right.
then we only ate it as a more of a celebration. It wasn't a constant, like, every day, let me go ahead and get this pork chop.
It was a
Or we
delicacy, and it was praised, and it was
yeah,
indigenous in the way that you gave gratitude to the land and to the animal, and
yeah,
it's not that way. Traditional animal agriculture is not that way. And so,
right,
like you, I don't have problems with indigenous peoples living the life that they live, because the impact they
right,
make on the climate are not the way that people do traditionally, right?
absolutely. And so with us, because I have an aunt. She's in a hospital right now. She has
I'm
diabetes.
sorry.
And I remember when she got diabetes. Was I in college or was I in high school? Well, I was younger, and I was staying over her house, and I remember in the middle of the night she just started screaming, like screaming bloody murder, and we didn't know what was going on. And we get her to the hospital and find out, because she couldn't feel her legs, and it was crazy. So they diagnosed her, and she had to start, giving herself insulin shots.
Hmm.
And the doctor told her, all you have to do is come off the sweets. Like if I go over my aunt's house, not now, but when I was younger, pies, cakes, sweet tea, anything that you needed. And if you didn't see it, I know there was a stash. I know there was a stash. And, she she would rather have to give herself insulin to just be like, okay, the doctor told me if I stop drinking sweet tea, because she felt like giving up the sweet tea was more important than her life.
Right.
And that was more so as in, when you are raised a certain way, because they weren't my grandparents weren't wealthy, they were sharecroppers. So, hand me downs and, piecing food together. There was 9 kids in the house.
Wow.
So you ate what you could afford. So
Hmm.
that's pig feet, that's chitlins, that's,
Hmm.
sweet tea. That's all the things that really weren't that expensive but kept your belly full. So
Yeah.
to tell someone at the age of, I guess, 70, or maybe even in her 60s, I think that's when it first started, that you're going to have to change it, the learned behavior. They think it's harder to change a behavior than to just, you know, roll with it. And I think that with our community, I really wish that they would have an open mind about how serious your health being a currency is. But we don't have people who are really, you know, telling them how dire that is, because without you understanding how important your health is, other things are not operating as they should,
Hmm.
because you're not of clear mind.
Hmm.
So I wish that we weren't so stubborn as far as really figuring out how we can really show up as our best selves here, instead of investing in, the latest Gucci belt or the latest, and I'm stereotyping because not all of us are rocking around here with Gucci belt, but I'm
Right.
saying that as far as us investing in huge luxury items and making, whatever else, what other culture more wealthier than if we did a turnaround and invest the same kind of energy and profits into our health and our, our lives being in abundance. It would be a huge shift on the way that we show up on this earth. So for me, I just wish that we really would pay attention, especially when COVID hit, and it's dealing with the immune system and things of that nature. But the blessing is that we are the fastest growing um demographic that are crossing over, because slowly but surely we're figuring it out. I just wish that it was a little bit faster.
And you're right. We do have leading icons, Black entrepreneurs like Atlas Monroe, who was serving the best
Mhm.
vegan fried chicken at Vegan Women's Summit.
Yes.
Companies like Compton Vegan are really leading the way and
Hmm.
letting people know, particularly in communities like that are more low income, have less access, that this is
Right.
possible. You can still eat cultural, traditional collard greens, mac and cheese, fried chicken,
Yes.
and it can be plant based. And that's what I really love about the sphere. And that's what I love that Pop Eats is doing, is highlighting places like this to make it accessible. So let's give
Absolutely.
our audience an example of your plant based knowledge with a pop quiz for our Pop Eats Pro.
Oh
Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry.
no,
So,
I
as a
wasn't
New
good in
Yorker,
school.
you got this,
I
you got
wasn't good
this,
in
you got
school. I
this.
wasn't good in school.
No, but this is stuff you know. So,
Okay.
this is more like I want to pick your brain so I can know
Okay.
what to do
Cool.
next. Okay. So,
Awesome.
as a New Yorker, what suggestions do you have for vegans searching for the perfect pizza pie slice that provides all the savor and flavor without all the cruelty?
I would choose Double Zero, the restaurant.
Is there a double
I
zero
would.
in New York as well?
Yes.
Shut the front door.
Yes. Matthew McKinney has a whole block up here.
Oh my
So
Lanta.
he has Sestina, he has Bar Verde, and he has Double Zero. He also has a luxury chocolate bar here called Casco. Yes. So since you can't have Godiva, you can go to Casco, and I'm telling
Oh
you,
my
he have ganaches, he has turtles, he has everything you need, and it's all dairy free, vegan.
God.
Yes.
Okay, so let's shift it.
Hmm.
Best vegan makeup brand for people of color.
I would say the Lip Bar, because their lipsticks are phenomenal and they also have great foundations. I would also say, what's another one? Bakery, Baked by Bakery. I think that's what it's called. But they're both in Target and they're right next to each other. And Minted. I think
Minted. I
Minted
love
is
minted.
vegan as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they're vegan as well. Um, but oh, and Folk Beauty. Folk Beauty is the go-to beauty brand, black owned. When I
Okay.
say, and I'm a youth to the people girl,
Mm-hmm.
but Folk Beauty, they sent me a PR box and I am in love with their products. Everything is sourced like from Ghana and things of that nature.
Ooh.
And I think she has her degree in, like, I guess beauty chemistry. I guess if that's one, if I don't know what the technical terms of it, but she has really researched the different types of plants that are medicinal for your skin and the different from normal to dry and things of that nature. In love with Folk Beauty, and that's PHOLK Beauty.
There you go. There's your plug, folk booty. Now,
Hmm.
name 3 vegan restaurants, all of different cuisines, that are
Okay.
a must try in NYC.
Okay, must try Cadence. Cadence is a
Okay.
vegan soul food space. It's been voted that one of, I think it's number 12 in out of 50 restaurants in the country. Um Phenomenal, 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 amazing, amazing, amazing. I can't say enough. Cadence is vegan soul food. If you're wanting the best vegan fried chicken, I
Mm-hmm.
would go to Heartbreakers, and they're part of the conglomerate where they have Screamers, which is a great pizza place. They have Champs, which is a vegan diner. They also have Terms of Endearment, whose vegan bacon, egg, and cheese will change your whole entire life. Yes. And um
One more, baby.
one more, I would go to Vegan Hood in Harlem because they have vegan oxtails. It's more like a
Oh my
Caribbeanish
God.
thing. Yes, I would go to Vegan Hood definitely for the vegan oxtails and aunts and uncles because theirs is a Caribbean s
Ooh.
influenced type space because they have like bakes and things like that, which is a Caribbean cuisine. But yeah.
Well, I don't know about y'all, but I'm hungry now. Well,
Oh, and
Angela, thank. Oh,
I forgot one
yes.
more. Urban Dessert Lab. It's soft serve oat milk ice cream, and they also have some that has alcohol in it, and they're amazing. So yeah, you're fed with all of those.
I need to be fed with all those right now. But Angela, thank you so much for sharing your insight and your time with us today. And that wraps up this episode of Be Kind Connects with the one and only Angela Yvonne. To learn more about Angela and her brand, Vegan Pop Eats, please visit www.popeats.com or give her a follow on Instagram at Vegan Pop Eats 2. That's a 2. To
Yes.
watch this episode and many more, subscribe to us on YouTube at our Be Kind Vibes channel. And stay connected with us on the gram at Be Kind app. And don't forget to download the Be Kind app today.